Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kickback presents the All Memphis Post Game Show, where we break down Memphis Grizzlies and/or Memphis Tigers games right after they happen. You don't have to wait for our takes. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we recorded. Life has been happening. A lot of stuff been going on, and the Grizzlies have been playing too many damn games. They play a game every other night, and you guys, I tell you one thing. I feel like one of the players, bro. I feel like one of the players, you know, playing every other night, staying up late, extending all this energy doing these games. But we are recording tonight after the Grizzlies lose to the Portland TrailBlazers, 130 to 109. The Grizzlies 109, Portland TrailBlazers 130. This is the Grizzlies' first game back in Memphis after a 7-game road trip where they went 4-3. And 2 of those wins were against Portland. They beat Portland twice in Portland, come back, and they lost to Portland at home. So they played Portland 3 times in 5 days: Friday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So 3 times in 6 days. And yeah. And if you listen to the show before the road trip, we talked about this road trip and our hopes of what they would go, and we wanted them to be better than 4-3, but we figured 4-3 would be where they would end up, and they ended up at 4-3, had a chance to be 5-2. Lost to Denver, the first game in Denver. They had a chance to win, ended up losing, and went to double overtime, and they lost. But it was a good game. So you saw a lot of good things from them on this road trip. Jaren Jackson came back on this road trip, and he looked good for a couple games, and now he hasn't looked too good in the game since. You can tell there's a little bit of rust there. There's a little bit of sluggishness there in Jaren and him trying to get back into the flow of being an NBA player. But on to tonight's game. Portland came in with a chip on their shoulder. Like, the Grizzlies beat them twice in Portland, and we're talking a lot of junk behind it. Dillon openly talked about how they wanted to sweep them. And he got into some shit talking with Dame Lillard and with Carmelo during the game. So, like, during the earlier game, so they took that personally. And Portland came out, and they were on it tonight. They had a 30-point lead at some point earlier tonight. The Grizzlies kind of clawed back. It was Portland's game from the get-go. The Grizzlies that led maybe won like 2-0 or something like that. Stats don't even really matter to this game. But Dame had 22, CJ had 23, Norman Powell had 24. Actually, CJ had 26, Norman Powell had 24. And now for the Grizzlies, Ja had 10 points, 8 assists. Dillon had 16 points, I think. Jonas had 19 and 6. Jaren came off the bench with 13. But the story of this game is not really – the story of now is not really this game, right? The story of the Grizzlies now is them getting ready for the play-in tournament. There was a chance that if they played well enough, they could have gotten themselves in the 6th seed so they wouldn't have to worry about being in the play-in tournament. But that ship has sailed. They could still probably get themselves in the 7th seed, which means that they would host the play-in tournament game, and they would only need to win once. They would. I think that's how the play-in tournament goes. The 7 seed plays the 8 seed, and then if they win, they stay the 7 seed. They don't have to do anything else. Yeah, it's a whole convoluted situation. I'll explain it on the next show because I don't really know what it is and how it goes right now. But we're looking at trends, and the trend of this game, the trend that the team is on. And they've done 2 things here recently. With the team getting fully healthy, with Jaren back, they changed the lineup. So you don't see much Xavier Tillman anymore, and you don't see much Tyus Jones anymore. They've made the decision to make Justice Winslow the backup point guard after having Tyus Jones, who you signed in the offseason, to be your backup point guard. And it hasn't had the results that I think they wanted it to have, but they haven't changed yet. Tyus was a very serviceable backup all year long and last year as well. And I think Chris Vernon tweeted it like in Memphis we have PTSD for not having a backup point guard, and now we finally got a competent backup point guard, and we don't want to play him. You don't want to play. You want to put Justice Winslow in, who hasn't really shown you anything in the last month and a half. Justice's Justice's production haven't shown you much at all in the last month and a half. And to make the decision to put him as a backup point guard over Tyus is something I think that the team has to get used to. Tyus was a steadying force. He is an actual point guard. He knows how to play the point guard position, get people in a position. So when you bring in Jaren off the bench, you're taking Tyus out the rotation, this kind of looks for some, like, it looks misshaped. It looks disorganized out there sometimes. And you're not getting much production from Justice. This was obviously changed a lot if Justice would give you some production. So we'll see if the Grizzlies go back to it. Campbell out here calling for a coaching trade. I know, man. Like I say, I don't know if I like that. I don't know. I think this is Jaren's third game back. I think they need to move him into the starting lineup because he's going to play in the starting lineup regardless. Like they need to figure out what this starting lineup is going to be for the playoffs. We only got like 11 more games for the playoffs start. The first play-in game is on May 18th, which is my birthday, by the way. So you got less than 2.5 weeks almost, basically, to a little over 2.5 weeks. Yeah, right at 2.5 weeks, basically to get it going, and they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. No, Campbell, I would rather have Jaren come off the bench than to see him wearing those stupid ass clothes that he's been wearing. But look who's the homie Mace is here right now. Mace just popped in. What it do, baby? What it do? I'm just sitting here talking about your boy Taylor Jenkins and how he messed up the rotation in the second unit by taking Tyus Jones out of the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I was the one clamoring for Justice to do this. It seems like 2 months ago now, back when he first came back. And I was hinting at Tyus being the odd man out, but we've seen in the bubble last year and then this current stretch what we look like without Tyus, and none of the results have been good. And it's pretty obvious that he gets everyone else going, and Justice is just not that as a point guard. He's a bully ball point guard. He doesn't feel the game. He doesn't think the game, and he's not looking to get others involved. He's looking to get his and go to that left hand.
Well, I think we all kind of wanted to see Justice in like a lead guard role. You know what I'm saying? At some point, but I don't know. It's not. We got a big enough sample size to know that it doesn't look good, and so maybe we should go back to Tyus.
And if you think Tyus should be out of the rotation, if he's just kind of the odd man out per se, then maybe Kyle should be the backup point guard, and you go ahead and put Jaren back in the starting lineup. Which, I mean, what are we waiting on? Like, there's 11 games left. It doesn't make sense to me that we're going to, unless this team just truly doesn't care about performance and only wants the data. But to that, you would say, the data, you want more data with Jaren and Valanciunas to see if that's going to work. You want more data with Melton and Ja and Dillon to see if that's going to work. You think you would think that you want to play your best players down the home stretch and put the team in the best position to win, but that's not been the case these past few games. Maybe it's experimental, but it's not working. So you got to make a change quick.
Right, man. You got to make a change quick. And I don't think in the minutes that Jaren has played, have we seen him play with Jonas? Because he's going to play the majority of the minutes with Jonas, so they might as well go ahead and start that.
If he didn't tonight, then no, we haven't.
Right, we haven't seen him play with Jonas. Maybe, I don't know. I like to put my head. I like to think like how I think they think, and maybe they think against a team like the Magic coming up where they don't have much of an inside presence. But they got Wendell Carter, but they don't have much of an inside presence. It'll be a good time to bring that lineup out and to see how it looks. But you keep messing around, and you're gonna put yourself in a position that you don't want to be in for this play-in tournament. you already pissed Portland off. So Portland already has our number. They think they have our number anyway. And they love to play against us or get up to play against us in these type of big game situations, which they have shown to get up for, and the Grizzlies have not getting up for. There's another thing I want to put on Taylor Jenkins, but I think we have to as the coach is we've seen a number of instances where this team has been in a big game or in an important game, and they just not show up. They just not show up. They don't play well at all, and they have to be more prepared for this game. Verno said it in the post game. It's like the youth of this team shows all the time. Like some NBA teams that get down by 20 or 30, even 30 early in the game, and say, you know what, okay, all we got to do is this, and we should be okay. We cut it to 12 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter or something like that. Something like that, you know what I'm saying? And we good. But this team seems to get their heads down, and they just don't seem ready for some of these big time games against some of these veteran teams. And I think that's something that the coaching staff has to look at.
Yeah, and Elliot Perry hit on that on the radio post-game show I was listening to on the way home from the bowling alley. And he basically said, the same thing you just said, the lack of leadership in the locker room is more reflective of them not being up for big games, he thought, than the coaching staff. But he and Hasseltine also were killing the lineup choices with Justice Winslow at back. I mean, EP, he tries to be, stay pretty neutral and keep his Grizz shades on, but he was frustrated with what he's seen, and he was just talking as a point guard. He was like, it's not working. Like, it's obvious the feel is not there, and you've messed up the complete flow that one of the best bench units in the NBA had going, and some of the best bench players in the NBA had going, and they look like shit now.
In the words of EP, Big Spain! Big block! Big block! Big block! EP.
Get on your feet! That's the Tigers one. Every time.
He's so funny with it. But man, like this, I'm watching this game. That's all I'm thinking about is like, yo, this team wasn't ready for this game. And you got people in the media, in the local media, like Giannato, right? Is this the Grizzlies' biggest game, the biggest game of the year? And Calkins and them saying the same thing. And it's like, granted, it really was a big game for what it was, but like they weren't ready for it. And it's a common thing when it comes down to some of these games. And hopefully next time, because you're going to see Portland again. Now, if you're going to see them, I think we hold people off and we stay in the 8. Maybe we get to 7. But we'll see Portland. We're going to see Portland in that play-in game. So it's going to be interesting to see how we react again to that and how they react. Like, Dillon's going to have to do what he got to do.
Yeah, and the good news is, like, it's not a huge difference between 7 and 8. You just have to win one game to be the 7, or lose a game and you still have a chance. There's a big difference between 8 and 9, and also 6 and 7.
Yeah, explain because I couldn't explain it. Explain the play-in situation. Do you know it off the top?
Yeah. So 7 and 8 play each other. The winner of that game gets the 7th seed. 9 and 10 play each other. The loser of that game is out, and the winner of 9 and 10 plays the loser of 7 and 8. And then the winner of that single elimination game is the 8th seed. So it's a little bit different from the bubble where it was 7, 10, 8, 9. This is 7 and 8 play for the 7th seed, and then the loser of that plays the winner of the lower seeded team's game for the final spot in the playoffs.
Got it. So for all you listeners that want to know, Mason's here to save the day. Well, since you're here, any thoughts on the 7-game road trip that they got off of?
I think it was pretty clear that they had been on a 7-game road trip in tonight's game, came home, got a little comfortable, probably got a little more of some other stuff, probably been occupied with their time. I'd imagine they didn't practice yesterday, so probably a little physically tired from aspects that they haven't been on the road. And now, they just got home, got comfy, got their ass kicked. I'm not really reading too much into it. I wish they would have played well. But the 7-game road trip, going into it, we didn't think that, we thought it was going to be ugly. We were hoping for like 2 or 3 wins. We came out 4-3, beat some good teams, beat the Blazers twice in Portland, in the Moda Center. Had some competitive games, a couple close losses. So I'm pleased with how we've been playing up until these past two basically no-shows. But I think that these two no-shows are definitely excusable in their own ways if you really take a deep dive into the situation.
And they probably did get a lot of Ching's wings. Probably got some Ching's wings and a little bit of something else when they got home too. A 7-game road trip. They was on the road for a week and a half. I think they had some weak legs. But yeah, it's like I mean, that's why I didn't want to harp too much on this game. I just kind of
right quick.
Do what you got to do. That's why I didn't want to harp too much on this game, because it's more of a bigger issue, the trends that are happening for us going into this play-in situation. And we got a decent schedule going down the way. We got Orlando twice this weekend. We got Orlando Friday, Orlando at home on Friday, and Orlando on Saturday. Then we come back and we play the Knicks on Monday. A Knicks team we should have beat in New York. And then who do we play after the Knicks? It's I can't remember.
It's not a lot of playoff teams. I mean, I think we have the easiest schedule in the NBA moving forward. San Antonio has a pretty rough schedule. Portland has a really tough schedule. And then we've got a game against the Warriors to close it out. So really the ball is in our court. We'll see what they do with the lineups. I mean, there's only so much data collection of bad data you can do. And like there's more intriguing data that I would like to see that is not getting collected right now.
Right. You don't need any more data sets. You've seen enough. You've seen enough of what Justice Winslow and some of these lineups can do. You don't need any more. Go back to this is the wrong time to be. I don't want to say wrong time to be experimenting, because you have to experiment a little bit with Jaren being back. But you had a good thing going. You know, you don't want to mess it up and tinker with things going into the playoffs.
Would you be mad right now, like if they took Justice out of the lineup and put Tyus back in, and say, you know, things play out however they play out, and then the team picks up Justice's $13 million option? Would you be upset based on what you've seen if they did that?
Not really. I don't, because I don't know what.
So it's like it's not a big deal. Like,
I don't. First off, $13 million ain't really that much in today's NBA. And secondly, who else are you gonna give the money to? I don't like. What other free agent do you think you're gonna be able to get to come down here? Just whatever. Just say, you know what, Justice, here's what it is right now. It's not working, bro. And then we'll deal with next year's team next year. But for what we got now, this is what we want to do. And it all feels like we're playing with house money, because we didn't expect to be in this situation now. So it feels kind of weird to be really complaining about it, because at the beginning of the year, we can't say we thought we would be here. But now, can I go to the transfer portal? But now it's like, okay, bro, we're here now. Let's not mess this up. Yeah. Let's not just be happy to be here. Let's do some things to make it so we can, we can make a run. And if we get the 8th seed, that's Utah, right? Utah's number 1. So we got a 7-game series against Utah. Mike Conley gets to be in Memphis for at least 4 days in a row. That'd be cool. Or if we get the 7th seed, you got Phoenix, which we've beat before. And, they're playing really well now.
Unproven.
But you can't trust Chris Paul in the playoffs.
No, hey, that's a whole other podcast, bro. We ain't got time for that. That's what it is. But I'm glad you said that, because I didn't want to be on here too long tonight. We already at 20 minutes. I just wanted to get back in the flow of things, because you and I've been texting you. You want to do a show tonight? No, I ain't really feeling it. These 8 o'clock games. NBA, bro, you got to start with these 8 o'clock Central Time games, my dude. Like, what was the reason tonight for 8 o'clock game? Yeah, man, we back to work. Like, come on, man.
Shit, like, come on. It ain't quarantine no more, bro. We back, like, stuff's opening back up now. People got to go back to sleep and stuff. So, but no. Yeah, man. So any last words?
No, I mean, we'll see if they can get things turned around. It wouldn't surprise me to see them stick with this lineup, at least one of these Orlando games, specifically the home one. And we'll see. I mean, it would not surprise me at all if we win that game by 20 points and that lineup still doesn't look spectacular, but they stick with it. Because they kind of show their hand. That's what they want to do. But it's something you got to insert Jaren into the starting lineup. So something's going to change a little bit. And when that happens, then you can move Kyle to the backup point, and that kind of gives you. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of things that could be worked out. My main thing is Milton needs to play more minutes.
Milton needs to play more minutes in close games. We shouldn't be closing close games with Grayson Allen on the court. And I wouldn't mind at least tinkering with seeing Kyle as a backup point guard for one of these games. Because I actually think sometimes you play better with Kyle on the court. He, like you say, he settles things down a little bit. But they are, good. Luckily, the game on Friday is a 7:00 start. So,
but the thing is, we have a proven backup point guard that's worked all season. So
maybe we should just go with him. That's the person. Yeah. That's what you signed him for. Maybe you should just let him play. So all right, man. Campbell said he got to go. He got to go to Nike to get some shoes. Hey, bro, give me a size 11. I'm just playing. Don't do that. But it's good to be back on here. We're gonna try to talk to y'all on Friday. We might talk to y'all Saturday. Y'all know how we do on back to backs. It is what it is. But with that being said, that's the homie Mace. I'm Jamal, and we are out.